Hey everybody, this is D Shan. I hope you're doing well wherever you're at. It is, excuse me, about 8:50 in the morning here. Hey JNMR, what's up, quarantine crazy? So today we're going to talk a little bit about medicine, hospitals, the medical industry here in China, and of course, as always, if you have questions, feel free to stop, interrupt me, and ask them. I love questions. Yen Yen, hello from Brazil. What's up, Brazil? Awesome, awesome country. Really good food there. I had a girl actually I dated from Brazil many years ago. She used to make some great food, homemade breads and whatnot. There we go. I get off topic really easy. God, I gotta get a haircut. My hair's coming out of my hat already. All right. Anyway, so um, now, for those who have been following me, you know that I am a Republican, Libertarian, whatever, back from the States. And I'm very big into free market. And actually, China kind of proves my point on a free market healthcare system. And I thought it would be pretty interesting to talk to you guys about it. Because here in China, we have two types of hospitals. You got, just like anywhere else, you got the public and the private, right? So the public hospitals here are absolutely insane. And I'm going to I'm going to share with you some personal experiences so you guys can have a little bit better idea of where I'm coming from. So the very first time I went to a public hospital was in Hong Kong. It was about a year after Hong Kong was given back to China. By the way, if you ever hear me say Shangang, Shangang is a Chinese word for Hong Kong, or Chinese name for Hong Kong. Anyways, so about a year after Hong Kong was given back to China, I went to one of the local hospitals, one of the public hospitals. I was feeling really crappy. This is back in the 90s. Um, I couldn't move. My stomach was killing me and whatnot. So I go into the hospital. Now, you could tell the walls were supposed to be white, but they hadn't been painted in forever. My paint was peeling. I would have no doubt that it was all lead paint too. And you actually had bugs like crawling across the floor and whatnot. It was nasty. It took now I was able to get inside into this hospital and see a doctor that same day, but it took probably a good 4 or 5 hours just to see a doc. And it wasn't that it was busy. The hospital I went into was on an island on the outskirts of the city, so it wasn't too busy. But yeah, it took quite a few hours to see a doctor. That was my very first experience in a hospital in China. Again, this was after Hong Kong was given back to China, so it was still part of China. Um, After that, the next time I saw any kind of medical services here in China was in 2004, 2005, something like that. 2004, 2005. And I was living in Chengde, Hebei, which is a city I've talked about before. And I had food poisoning. There was this little mom and pop restaurant right in front of my home, on the same block. And I went there and ordered some chicken and rice dish. And I'm assuming that either the chicken wasn't fully cooked or, thank you for that heart, either the chicken wasn't fully cooked or it was bad. And I wound up getting massive food poisoning. It was one of the worst food poisonings I've ever had. Now, for quite a few years, I actually had food poisoning once or twice a year. I guess my stomach's got in pretty strong. Now it's not. Is the coronavirus there? You mean in China? Yeah. Coronavirus is still here. Yeah. So, yeah, my stomach's gotten used to it, and I had really bad food poisoning. Anyways, after a few days, who says Wuhan is okay? No, it's not. I've got friends there, and they're telling me really bad stories. Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. My pleasure. So, yeah, you asked me this. Listen, I'm a Trump supporter. I don't trust Fox. I don't trust CNN. I don't trust BBC. Screw the news. I find them right from the source. So if I want to know about Wuhan, I just asked someone that's in Wuhan. Okay, so yeah, keep going. So I go to the hospital after about 3 days. This was the point I was at was I was sleeping on the couch, which was right next to the bathroom, and I literally roll off the couch and drag myself to the toilet just to throw up most of the time I got there. So I get to the hospital, and immediately they say, okay, you have to pay a deposit. So as soon as you walk into the hospital, you have to pay a fee just to be seen. So then I had to go up to the third floor, stairs only, and which is not normally a problem. But again, I had food poisoning. I'm sick. I could barely move, but I had to walk up 3 flights. Went to the doctor. He checked my temperature, did a blood pressure. The cost was about, I think it was 100 kwai, which is like, in those days, it was like $11, $12, something like that. Saw the doctor. He did basically a triage, right? Then he writes down on a piece of paper, okay, you have to go get this test. Then I got to walk down 3 flights of stairs, stand on the cashier line, pay the fee for those tests, then go. Yeah. It was cheap because it's government. It's public. Public's always cheaper because it's offset and controlled. Then I had to go down, stand on line. Now, mind you, again, I'm sick. Then I had to walk around the hospital to the different rooms, offices, and then get an X-ray. I had to get I forgot all the tests. There was like 3 or 4 tests, and I had to walk all around the hospital. Got all the tests. Then I had to go into one room, wait for results. Once they brought me the results, then I had to go back to the triage guy, which I didn't understand that, but the triage guy, I had to wait in line. That was another hour or so. And then once he saw the results of the test, he said, okay, this is what you have to do, which was ridiculous, but it's such a common thing, and I'll explain it to you in a second. He wrote another script, had to go back down to the cashier, wait in line again, pay the script. Then I had to go to another room where all they did is gave me a bag of IV. That's it. They said I was dehydrated, so they gave me an IV bag. And they gave me a penicillin bag. It's very common in China. Anyone who's sick, even if you got like a small sniffle, penicillin. And IVs. That's it. That's like their biggest thing. Which is ridiculous. They're overusing drugs. They overuse drugs here. Which is also one of those problems that scientists have been telling us. We're overusing drugs as a society, and that's allowing germs to become super germs or super viruses, whatever that is, super bacteria. And a lot of it happens here because, and there's actually a reason for it. Exactly, drug resistant. The reason for it is if doctors are not treated the same here as they are treated back in the States, right, or in the West, they're treated pretty shitty. And if someone goes into the doctor's office, and I didn't know this until many years later, and the doctor doesn't give them medicine, if the person says they're sick and the doctor doesn't give them medicine or give them something, then the person usually will get very irate, and you'll actually have people beating the crap out of doctors. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So the doctors, just to satisfy the clients or the patients, they give them IV and they give them penicillin, even if there's nothing wrong. So then I go into the room where it's basically a huge corridor. This room is just a huge room, just lined with beds, right? It's a long room, beds all along the wall. And I sit there and I get the IV put in me, which is funny, and I'll tell you that in a second. But anyways, there was these rats. Literally, now I'm not talking mice, right? If you know the difference, I'm not talking mice. Rats that were running around on the floor and up the walls. You could see them everywhere. And this is one of the best hospitals in the city I was in. So anyways, the IV. The nurse comes in to give me the IV to put in the stent, right? So normally you get it right here, but they put it here. Now, okay, different, but I accepted it. But here's the lady. She's putting it in like this. She's shaking. I said, what's wrong? She said, I've never done this to a foreigner before. I was like, oh my God, listen, we're the same. You're a person, I'm a person. And she's like, yeah, but, and I said, listen, can I do it? At least I had no idea what I was doing. But at least I'm not shaking. And she's like, no, it's okay, I'll do it. And she does it, and she jabs it. She hits my bone. Pain. I mean, effing pain, right? Yeah, funny now. Anyways, I scream. She screams. She pulls it out really quick. IV is the bag that has the line, goes into you, and then it puts the medicine or solution in there. Intravenous is what's it called, is what IV stands for. And, so she has a colleague come, some young girl, much younger than this one. She comes in, she looks at me, she just jabs it in, not like painfully jabs it in, but puts it right in, and it was no problem. So the whole visit in total cost me probably less than $50. I mean, medicine, doctors, everything together. Less than $50. Very cheap. But you could tell the care sucked. The hospital sucked. Cleanliness sucked. They had rats in the hospital. And again, this was a really nice hospital for the area. No, it wasn't free. I mean, you still had to pay, but it was really cheap. Oh, free rats. Yeah. Well, those were your snack. If you got tired or if you were there too long, you just grab one, chow down. So that's what public healthcare is. And as far as I'm concerned, when I hear people in America saying, listen, we want social healthcare, we want public healthcare, that's where my mind goes. I've seen it, right? I've lived in it. And I've had more experiences with it. Here in Beijing, I'm not joking. If you go to the hospital here in Beijing, public one, you'll sit there waiting on lines for an hour, 2 hours, just to get into triage. And I've seen people seriously bleeding, and they're still waiting on line because that's what you got to do. Retire in China, that I'm not 100% sure on. I am going to be buying a house soon here in Beijing, probably within the next year or two. But retire, no. I personally, I'd rather retire in someplace like Detroit, Alaska, anywhere in Alaska. Or if I really, really have the opportunity, I would love someplace like Kentucky, Wyoming, Minnesota, somewhere with more countryside. But if I get city, even though I'm from New York, I'd prefer Detroit. Political reasons. So yeah, that was the public. So now private, okay? Right down the street from me, and later when I go outside for my walk in about another 2 hours, an hour or two, I'm going to actually walk by this hospital, this private hospital. It's called SOS Clinic, and they're connected with United Health Family Services, which is another private hospital, a couple kilometers from here. So anyways, SOS is absolutely clean. They're expensive. You know, I pay roughly $200 for a doctor's visit. That covers everything. That covers doctor's visit, scripts, some of the tests, everything else. Right? It's actually less than $200. It's probably about $180. It's like 1,300 kwai, so whatever that is. And then if I need medications, that's extra. Yep. I don't have to pay up front. I go in. I've been there before. All my records are on file. It's very clean, very nice people. They all speak English. They speak multiple languages. You got English, Russian, Spanish speakers there, Chinese, Japanese, and whatnot. I know exactly what the costs are. Yeah, you can actually see a chart. It's private healthcare. This is awesome. Now, to a point, and I'll go into the bad part in a second. Exactly, not like the U.S. Well, in the U.S., LASIK is very similar, right? LASIK healthcare, or a lot of plastic surgeries. or I don't know, rhinoplasties. They do it too. Yeah. But general healthcare, they don't. And that's the thing. I want privatized healthcare in the U.S. because it would be like this. So, I mean, seriously, think about it. I go to the doctor. I see the doctor. It's like $180. If I go to the ER, it costs about $80, I think it was. I forgot what it was. It's been a long time since I went to the ER here. And the ER, my daughter's ear surgery for 45 minutes was $29,000. Yeah, exactly. That's public. That's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. When you get rid of health insurance, and that's the thing, they ask me, do you have health insurance? I'm like, no. They said, okay, we'll put you on the cash. And the cash is so damn cheap. So, I go and see my doctor. I have a doctor there, really nice lady. She's from France. She's always taking care of me. And the thing is, I actually could choose which of the doctors I wanted, right? They give me a list of the doctors. I've met the doctors, and I could choose which doctor I wanted. I wanted her. Okay, you guys got a lot of questions. Hang on, let me see what they are. Did you have corona? No, I never had corona. I got sinuses because of the pollen outside. Where are you from? New York. Is she hot? No, she's not hot. Hey, what's up? Here's the thing. I went to one doctor. She had purple hair. All right. I know this is kind of like, I don't know, superficial or whatever. She's from Germany. I didn't mind that. I liked her CV because they show you where they went to school. They show you some of their experience and stuff like that, which is really cool. But in her picture, she was like just average person. Then I went in and she had this purple hair and I couldn't get over it. I'm sorry, I couldn't take a doctor serious with purple hair. So I wound up switching over to this other one, Sonia. Dr. Sonia is her name. She's a general family doctor. She's also a pediatrician, so she's great. She also takes care of my daughter. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. What is that? I think everyone live in China have corona. No, not everyone in China has corona. It's like everyone in China knows kung fu. What do you guys think of Trump? Trump 2020, buddy. Hello to Brazil. White coat, purple hair. He likes Trump. Yep, I do. Now, it's not that I like Trump. I support Trump. I like what he's done, his policies. But as a person, he's an asshole, usually. He doesn't think before he speaks, but that's normal for New Yorkers like me. Why are there many European working as doctors in China? They pay really well. I mean, compared to other countries, I'm sure they pay very, very well. So anyways, back to the story. I'll go in and see the doctor. She'll give me a script. Then I got to go to the pharmacy. So the hospital has its own pharmacy. Now, I'll actually show you. So I'm going to put my... Really? Oh, there it is. Sorry, had to lean for it. So I have high blood pressure. Go figure, right? Fat guy. A week's worth of high blood pressure medicine, or blood pressure medicine, right? These are the ones I get. Now, I can get the imported ones from that hospital, which would cost me about $50 for 1 week's supply. 2021, you have to stop 2020. Can't live with coronavirus. Yeah, no kidding, right? So for a week's supply of the name brand from the hospital is about $50. They order me in this generic one, which the doctor from France, Dr. Sonia, she tells me, listen, it's perfectly fine. Now, I've been on this stuff for about 2 years because of her. Before her, my blood pressure was ridiculous. And I've actually got a blood pressure cup, which I got here in China too, and I'll show it to you. But anyway, 3 months supply of this one, the generic one here in China, private healthcare, $80 cash. $80. That's it. 3 months. 3 months. So here's my blood pressure cup. It's very simple. Just goes right on the wrist. You sit, make sure it's in line with the heart, turn it on, and bam, you're good to go. And this cost me less than $20. Private healthcare is the best damn thing you can get for the people. Public social welfare systems don't work. Absolutely not. I mean, $29,000 for an ear infection? Come on. My daughter, she, oh God, that was a stupid thing. All right, so I had an ice pack once on my neck and I fell asleep. She was 3 years old, and I fell asleep. I took a pain pill. My neck was killing me. I had twisted it. She bit into it. She wakes up. I wake up. She's screaming because, of course, it's made so that it tastes disgusting. I see that she bit into it. I take her to the SOS clinic immediately. Luckily, it's literally like 2-3 blocks away. 3-4 blocks, whatever. And the emergency care, they gave her some medicine because they didn't know what was inside. They were calling the company if the company was closed. It was after hours. So they wound up giving her some medicine just in case. The whole visit, emergency room, everything for her, medication and all, came out to less than like $200. Less than $200. You'll never see that in the States. All right? All right. The NHS works very well in the UK. National Health Service? I'm assuming you're saying National Health Service. I was in the UK a month ago. Everyone tells me they hate it. I asked a lot of Brits. There's a tour guide that was at the Sherlock Holmes house. Him and I were talking for a while because he was asking me about China and the coronavirus. And he was telling me how much he hated the healthcare system there. And there was 2 guys in the Tower of London when I went there. Actually, it was a guy and a girl who was in the Mint. So you walk in, and to the left they have the area where the Mint used to be. And they were telling me how much they hated it. Then there was a lady in the hotel restaurant. She was a waitress, and we were all talking for a while, and she told me she hated it. Nobody told me they liked it there. The problem in the U.S. is not quality, it is price. No controls except for Medicare. Exactly. I have no problem with the quality of healthcare in the States. I do have a problem. Some places, especially in the cities, you do have attitudes from doctors, and that's the thing. Like here, I can choose my doctor. In the States, you can't. And I think that's the way it should be. I think you should be able to, if a doctor is really good, then they will go far. If they're arrogant, if they're assholes, if they treat people badly, then they won't. That's what a free market system does. Also, free market brings the costs down. For NHS costs half as much. Yeah, it costs half as much as the U.S. So does Canada. But in Canada, if you want to see a heart specialist or any specialist, you have to wait 6, 12, even longer months. 6, 12 months or even longer. A buddy of mine in Toronto had to actually wait. What was it? It was something, I forgot the surgery. This was years ago. He was telling me about it. He had to wait almost 7 months to see a doctor. Yeah. I needed to see a doctor in the States. At the longest, I had to see a sleep specialist, actually. That was an interesting one. That was long. It took me almost 5 days. 5 days to see a sleep specialist. Do they have transparent prices in China? Yes. If you go to the private hospitals, like the one over here, which I'm going to walk by later when I go on my walk, and I'll show it to you guys if you're joining me, or if you watch my replay later. Yeah, they have transparent prices. Everything is listed there. You can ask them exactly how much it is. They'll tell you. When I went to the emergency room once, it turned out I had gout, which is a really shitty thing, but now I eat a lot of chicken. I don't eat red meat. One of the doctors wanted to give me an x-ray, and I'm like, how much? And he told me it would be 3,000 kwai, which is like, I don't know, $400. Which again, for x-rays is not expensive, $400 for x-rays. And I was like, no. I know I didn't break anything. I know it wasn't torn. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do the x-ray. He's like, okay, let me do a different test. And the test was like $20. And then he found out it was gout. So there you go. Do you drink tap water there? No. I drink either bottled water, which, I mean, God knows, you never know where this water's really from. I used to drink tap water. And I have 2 big filter systems here. Last night I was looking at buying a new filter system from the States. A gravity-fed filter system. But here I use Brita. I have a Brita hot water filter system, and I have a Brita pitcher filter system. The support free market in U.S. doesn't. The supposed free market system. The supposed free market in the U.S. doesn't. Wow. Yeah, I can't read. No, I know. That's one of the problems in the U.S. No transparency. Again, if you do LASIK eye surgery, they're transparent. And look how great LASIK has worked. In just a few years, technology and innovation has increased on LASIK. Prices have dropped. I remember when my father was thinking about it, God rest his soul, but back in the day, he was thinking about doing LASIK, and they were talking about scalpels. He was talking about $1,000 an eye. Now I know it's a couple $100 an eye. They use laser, and you're in and out the same day. There's no major recovery time. That's because of free market, and you know exactly how much it is beforehand. Do Chinese people drink tap water there? Usually no. It's very rare. If they do, I shouldn't say they don't drink tap water. In the house, they will boil tap water, but people don't drink it from the... It's not like the States where they just put a cup under the sink and drink it. That's what I used to do as a kid, right? Yeah, just take a cup, put it on the sink, drink it. But they will boil it first if they do that. When I cook, when I boil noodles or potatoes, I use tap water, boil it, and I'm cool. But for regular just drinking, bottle. And I got a bunch of boxes over there. And then I got small 550 milliliter ones, which I walk around with. What was that? In the U.S., they don't tell you the price. They just make you sign something that says you will pay. Yeah. That's one of the biggest problems. You don't know how much it's costing. I mean, if I'm going to go and fix my car, I'll shop around for prices. And they try to make you feel bad. They say, oh, well, you shouldn't shop around for health care. It's too important. No, you should. Absolutely should. I mean, again, I can get the brand name of this for $50 a week, or I got the generic one for $80 for 3 months. Exact same thing. Same ingredients, right? Shop around. That's what you need to do. I only drink Diet Coke. I would never drink it. All right, so one of my degrees, one of my studies was in science, and we did one of those exams. Jesus, it's been so long. We did a test on sodas, and we boiled sodas, and we saw what's inside. It was absolutely disgusting. I used to drink soda. I used to drink about 2 liters. This is only about a liter. It's 1.5 liters. But I used to drink 2 liters of soda every meal, right? I haven't had soda in 6 years. Only water. Love it. How much a gallon? You mean gallon of water? This water will cost me about... that was 3. This one I think was 5. So 90 cents for one of these. And this is... How many? This is 5 liters. So, yeah. 5 liters... packaged drinking water from Nestle. This one is a Cestban. It's 5.5 liters. And that one cost me 3 kwai, so it's 60 cents. We are what we eat. Yeah, we are. Shit, I'm a chicken. In Chinese, Gigi is not a nice thing to say to someone, which is chicken. If no one had insurance in the U.S., the information might resemble a free market for healthcare. Yeah, I'm fine with healthcare. I don't have healthcare. Listen, I don't agree with it. I don't need it. I get sick once, maybe twice a year. It costs me a couple $100 for the whole year. Again, my medication is nothing. I mean, $80, 3 months. I mean, I take other medications too, or actually not medications, but vitamins and all, but health insurance doesn't take care of that. So for me, there's no reason to pay hundreds of dollars every month for health care. I mean, if I had a surgery, I had a buddy here who had a car accident. He had to have his leg operated on. He had to have the pins put in, everything else. Excuse me. He paid cash. He actually shopped it around to a couple hospitals. He paid, I think it was like $20,000. That was surgery, several surgeries, doctors, medication, everything. $20,000. Now that sounds like a huge amount. Yeah. But then if you're paying $200, $300 a month for insurance, and you're paying that for years because of one possible surgery, right? $20,000 is actually cheaper to pay one time than all those insurances. And that's how I am. I save my money. I invest my money. So that money I would have put it towards health insurance definitely made me more money than I've actually would have been spending on insurance. Your Diet Coke. Are you upper middle class in China? Me personally, yeah, I would put me in the upper middle class, lower high class, somewhere around there. And that's only because of the amount of money I generate every month. I mean, I remember when I first came here, oh my God. I was going through, when I first decided to move to China, not just visit China, but I came here and lived, when I was going through my first divorce, I literally got off the plane with $700 in my pocket, and that's all I had. That's it. And everything else I've built up for myself. Average cost for health care in the U.S. is $12,000 per year. Exactly. And how many times do you plan on having a car accident or having major surgeries? Right? For me, I've had appendectomy when I was 16. I had a tonsillectomy when I was 22. That's it. That's all my surgeries I've ever had in my life. Now, I know not everyone has that. And I know some people have more surgeries and more health problems. But I don't believe the average person, from what I see, and again, this is anecdotal, I know, but from what I've experienced and what I see, most people don't have a major surgery every single year. If you do, great, get health insurance. If you don't, take that money, invest it, save it in a savings account, or invest it into some mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Well, I guess bonds right now would, I don't know. But in general, just invest that money, save it. You'll save more money, and you'll earn money on the money you would have put into insurance. That's my opinion. All right. How about Hesa apartment? Cheap or expensive? Well, I'll give you an example. My first apartment, excuse me, guys. No corona. My first apartment way back in the day, that I paid for, that wasn't given to me. I had 100 and thank you so much for those hearts, guys. I really appreciate those. No joke. I really do appreciate all those hearts, super hearts, and all that. So my apartment was 120 square meters. Thank you. And it cost me like $500. I'm sorry, 500 kwai, which was less than $100 a month. Today, 2020, the apartment I'm living in right now, right this second, and outside, I'm centralized here in Beijing. That's Beijing. And it's 68 square meters, and I'm paying roughly $1,600 a month. So you got to think of it. I mean, I'm in Beijing. You got to think of it comparable to L.A. or New York or Chicago, right? 7 days in the hospital for COVID in the U.S. is estimated to cost at least $70,000. Yeah, and I'm sure most of that would be picked up by Medicare, Medicaid, or insurances. But the fact is, here, if I spent 7 days in the hospital, right? God, I've never done it. I'm trying to remember what the prices were. I think it was something stupid like $120 a day, something like that. I know it was a little bit over $100. Thank you very much for those hearts. I know it was a little bit over $100 for overnight stay in the hospital here. You guys are awesome. Are you just convincing me healthcare sucks in the U.S.? It's not that I'm trying to convince you of anything. I'm giving you my stories, right? You have to make your own decisions. It's the same reason that my family is mostly Democrats. I didn't want them to convince me to be a Democrat. I went out and just looked for information, and then I chose what I want to believe. I'm giving you information. You choose what you want to believe. I don't believe healthcare sucks in the U.S. In fact, in general, healthcare in America is the best, right? If you get cancer in the United States, you are more likely to survive it than if you get it in other countries. America has the best innovation in healthcare. We have the best medicine. I completely believe it. Statistically, we see it. Does it cost more to have healthcare in the U.S.? Absolutely. That's why I'm an advocate for a free market. I see the difference. In this country where we have a free market healthcare system side by side with a public social healthcare, or social welfare healthcare system, whatever, I see the side by side comparison. I live it. I've experienced it. So I can tell you for a fact, privatized healthcare is absolutely better. But it's your choice to believe what you want to believe. But you can't get the free market price in the U.S. Well, that's the thing. I believe you should have a free market system, and I believe you should have the right to have health insurance if you so inclined. I'm a big advocate for freedom. So you have idiots who want to do stupid things, and you have people who want to do smart things. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's other things, right? I'm a fat guy. I'm an idiot, right? I'm going to say I'm an idiot. I didn't have to be a fat guy. My mother was healthy. My father was healthy. My sisters are all healthy. And healthy, I mean slender. They eat right. They exercise a lot. When I was in high school, I was slender. I wasn't a big fat guy. I chose to be this. I didn't say, I want to be fat. But I chose to eat the way I ate. I chose to be lazy. It was my fault. Why should my stupidity be a burden on society? Why should my stupidity cause anyone else ill will, right? So there's people that choose to do stupid things, and they should do stupid things if they want to do. That's my right, as long as it doesn't negatively affect other people. If you don't have insurance, you will be screwed on the price. I don't agree. Again, if you don't have insurance and it's a free market system, prices go down. We see that again in the U.S. with LASIK. Prices keep going down with no insurance involved. The cost at a hospital, at a doctor's office, if you ask them, a huge portion of the fee is dedicated to several employees which the only work they do is paperwork for healthcare services. When a doctor goes completely non-insurance, you get cheaper. I'll give you another example. My chiropractor in Buffalo, New York, Dr. Paul Bluestein, awesome chiropractor. If you went to him, you could go to him with health insurance, but most of the chiropractors I know, if you go to them who take health insurance regularly, I think the only thing he took was Medicaid. It was one of those. Otherwise, he doesn't take health insurance. But if you went to many chiropractors with that take health insurance and you had no health insurance, you'd be paid $60, $80, $100 for a visit. With him, it was $25 cash. That's it. $25. See him, he does the adjustment, you're in and out. Healthcare or health insurance screws people. If you don't, the prices are too high in the U.S. for healthcare. I agree. Again, free market will bring it down. If the prices in the U.S. were reasonable, I wouldn't have health insurance either. Yeah, exactly. Chinese food. Your wife cooks too. Well, that's a funny thing. Growing up in the States, we always thought, oh, Chinese food must be healthy. Just look at all the Chinese; they're small and thin. Chinese food is not healthy. All right. It depends on how you cook it. And no, I'm divorced. I have no wife. Sounds like India and China are the same. In many ways, they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you end up in the emergency room, you can't negotiate. You are screwed in the U.S. Of course. Yeah. In the U.S., if you end up in the emergency room, that's it. What they say is what they do. Yeah, they do what they do, and that's it. Forgive me, guys. I haven't done my hair at all today. Yeah, you have no choice. And that's one of the things I like about going to SOS or going to United. Or there's another hospital not far from here called the Japanese Friendship Hospital. And it's another private one. And you could go in and they say, okay, this is the test we want to do. This is how much it costs. These are the medications we want to give you. This is how much it costs. This is the procedure. This is how much it costs. And they'll tell you. You just ask. Or sometimes they don't ask and they just tell you how much it's going to cost. And you agree or don't agree or you shop around. My doctor, Dr. Sonia, I have... It's a bag from the hospital. So... This medication, I got this a few weeks ago. What was it? Okay, on the 12th. I went to... No, I'm sorry, the 2nd. I went and got this one. So on the 2nd, I went to them. And the name brand version of this is for gout. I had a bad flare-up during the lockdown, during the quarantine. So I went and got some more gout medicine, which I keep on hand just in case I have a flare-up. So if I had gotten this from them, it would have cost me, God, how much was it? It was 1,000. It was over 1,000 kwai, so it would be like roughly a little less than $200. But she said, don't get it from us. Go to one of the Chinese pharmacies and get it from them. So that's what I did. I went to the Chinese pharmacy and got this. And it cost me roughly $20. And that's a month's supply of the gout medicine. Isn't it communist there? What's that like? Yes, it is communist. And it's changed a lot over the years. And give me a second, I'll go into that. What if you are unconscious? Is there a limit to what they can charge you? That's a good question. So... This is the way it works here. An ambulance is a private service here, and you have to be able to afford it. So, okay, well, I'll tell you the story. So, this is back in early 2000s. I was not far from here. I wasn't living in Beijing, but I was visiting. And there was a girl that got hit by a car. She went flying. I saw it. And just like normal, Chinese people just stand around in a crowd. I was taught very early on, because of another accident I saw, sorry, flashback, that you don't touch people here, if they're hurt, right? Or you don't try to help them. It could end up being a big problem for you, legally and financially. So, anyways, the ambulance comes. They basically kneel down next to her. From my understanding of what she was saying at the time, and my Chinese was very, very bad at the time, she had no cash on her. The ambulance left her there. She wound up dying shortly thereafter. Yeah. That's horrible. That's horrible. The hospitals, you do have to pay. However, if you're brought into the hospital in the emergency room, here's the thing. Let's say you had a heart attack. First of all, the ambulance, if they pick you up, then they'll bring you to the hospital, and usually you'll have someone with you, and you still have to pay. You have to pay first to see a doctor. That's the way it works. If you can't afford the 100 kwai, then you're pretty much dead. And if you're unconscious, yeah, as from my understanding, from everything I know about the healthcare system, if you're a Chinese person and you're unconscious, you need to have someone with you to take care of the bills. If you're a foreigner, usually they still allow you to get treatment, but that's only because they can take your, they can figure out what your passport is, and you can't leave China, and there's a whole bunch of things they can do with that. Sorry, bad flashback memory. So what's it like being in a communist country? It's changed a lot. When I first came here, there were actually rules, laws, that said no more than about, I think it was 5 foreigners could be together at one time. Those kind of laws have pretty much gone away, or I think they're still there, but they're just not enforced anymore. I feel more comfortable talking openly about certain things with friends in public. Certain things, not everything. However, of course, there are certain things you just don't say. Big Brother's always watching. You know that. It was uncomfortable at first. In fact, I remember when they first started putting security cameras on the streets, they used to have these giant TVs on the roads, in different areas. And they literally, the TVs just scroll through the different video feeds, basically saying, hey, look, we're watching you. Most of those TVs are gone now. They don't show them anymore. But there is no privacy. You know that. I mean, I would have no doubt in my mind that there's some sort of microphone or camera watching me now. Communism is well, I don't like it. However, for me personally, I don't talk about politics unless people ask me anyways, even back home. I don't talk about religion unless people ask me anyways, even back home. So for me, those two aspects of China don't bother me. I got to admit, the average person is safer in China than, say, New York City. And why do I say this? Because the consequences for criminal behavior here are so severe, most people don't commit crimes. If they do, they commit small crimes. Embezzlement happens here, but it's, yeah, even, I mean, hell, bribery. People that took bribes were executed, just to give you an idea. So most people prefer not to have those kind of things happen, so they just don't commit as many crimes. It does happen, it's just not too much. Sorry, I kind of go sidetrack there, so I hope I answered your question. The doctors and hospitals in the U.S. are shameless on pricing. Doctors, I don't believe, are shameless on pricing, but the hospitals are, and it goes, again, with health care or health insurance, I believe is a major issue there. I have heard the Chinese are reluctant. It's not that they're reluctant to help strangers. It's that they're afraid they're going to get sued. Here, the idea of suing people is, think of the U.S. in the 80s, right, or 70s. People sued over everything to get rich, and they do it here. I don't give a crap. I mean, guy's got to be in his, 70s. He was trying to get his bicycle out of the park, and he had to lift it over this barrier that was there, this walking barrier. If you saw my video from yesterday when I went to the market, it was the same kind of barrier I had to walk through. And so anyways, everybody's watching this guy struggle, and I'm like, screw this. Nobody wanted to help him, because he could scream, oh, you hurt me, or you broke my bike, and then he sues you, right? And lawsuits don't work the same. Basically, police come and he says, I want 300 yuan, and you either pay him or you get arrested, and it's a whole thing. I'm like, screw it. Help him. Picked up his bike, put it down, he thanked me, and I walked away. That was it. A lot of people are so scared to be financially burdened, lawsuits, that they don't want to help each other. Now, I have had people try to pull scams on me, right? I remember this one time I was walking by, and this old man right behind me, he screams. Yeah, I wasn't even near him. He starts screaming, and he literally dropped to the ground. He fell. Yeah, he did it himself. He purposely fell onto a pile of garbage. And he's like, "Help me up!" Yeah, he's saying it in Chinese, and he's doing it with his voice, like this. And I look at him. I'm like, no. I know what you're about to do, and I literally just turned around and walked away. And that's not something I like to do. I like to help people. That's who I am. But in this case, I knew what he was doing. He was trying to run a scam. And you got to be careful. You got to judge it. But a lot of people are very reluctant just because of that. Are the anti-Semitic at all? You mean here in China? You do have some anti-Semitism here, but it's not very common. In fact, when Chinese find out I'm Jewish, the first things they say is, "Oh, Jews, you guys are all so smart. You're all so rich." I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm just so tired of correcting them. I'm like, yep, all Jews are intelligent. All Jews are smart. That's right. Israel's made of nothing but billionaires. It's so stupid. Jews, for anyone that thinks that Jews are all rich and all smart, congratulations. You can believe that if you want. But Jews are human. Everyone is the same. Yeah, you make your own path in life. You have to choose to be educated if you want. You have to choose to work hard and become wealthy. If you don't, there's plenty of bums who are Jewish. All right. Penalty, death. Yes, there's a lot of death penalties for different crimes here in China. And for those that don't know, the stories are true. If you're executed by a bullet to the head, your family is charged for the cost of the bullet. Are the Chinese anti-Semitic in China? No, they're not. Do the police take bribes? No. I hope you got that one. Yeah. Never. And Taiwan is a province in China. Like I said, there's certain things you just don't say. I am 1% Jewish. It is the smart. Hey, you're more Jewish than what's her name is Indian. I forgot. The political lady, the old white lady. Please don't answer if it will put you in trouble. No, don't worry about it. Trust me, I wouldn't. I actually remember that I was in China. My first time being here for a long stint was about 1.5 years. And I flew back to New York, and I saw my dad. This is back in the early 2000s. And I spent, I think it was like 3-4 weeks in the States. And every time discussions of politics, or religion, or anything about China came up, my voice would get very quiet. I would just go very quiet, even in the States. And it was just, that was how it was in those days, right? You just didn't speak out loud. So it definitely got ingrained into me really quickly here in China. I mean, I remember the black cars. I mean, there used to be black cars that would literally drive down the street, and you'd see some people get out of the car, grab someone from the street, and throw them in the car. It was actually a van. I never saw a car. It was a van. But I saw those things happen. I mean, that's how long I've been here. You don't see it really anymore. You don't see it really anymore. You do see it, just not as often. But, yeah, so I know the kind of things that happen. And, I mean, hell, for those of you who follow me, I was accused of being a spy twice in this country. First time it was interesting. Second time was very scary. I was put into a chair, a metal chair, where my arms were strapped down, my legs were strapped to the chair. Sorry, memories. It was not a good experience. So, and of course, people still ask me, why am I still in China after that? And it's because normally things are pretty cool. But, yeah, anyways, you learn very quickly not to say certain things and to be careful. All right, so anyways, let me go back here. Pocahontas, yes, that was it, Pocahontas. You know who I'm talking about. You're more Jewish than she is, than Pocahontas is Indian. All right. You're so awesome. What do the Chinese think of Trump? It depends. Well, first of all, it depends on who you're asking, where they get their news, and at what point in the day you're talking to them. Let me explain that. So who you're asking. Chinese who are very westernized, who have been abroad, they depends on where they've gone to. They will either be pro or against. Yeah. Then you have the Chinese who get international news. They have VPNs, so they look at news from around the world. And of course, most news outlets that they will look at will be very much anti-Trump. So they will see that as, they see news as, oh, well, if it's not Chinese news, those kind of Chinese. If it's not Chinese news, then it's real news. So they'll automatically believe anything they see on, whether it's the Young Turks, the CNN, the MSNBC, or whatever. Most of them don't look at Fox, which is really the only one I can think off the top of my head that's a mainstream media that supports Trump for the most part. And then you have the Chinese that pretty much believe whatever Chinese media says. And sometimes they are pro-Trump. Sometimes they are anti-Trump. It really just depends on the narrative that week or that day or that minute. I remember when Trump was doing the tariffs, right? When he started to come off the tariffs and allow more... what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, guys. Except for talking to you guys, I don't usually use English too often in my daily life. When Trump is like trying to help China a little bit, like take off those tariffs, they're like, "Oh, Trump is so good, he's so nice." And then when he's putting on a tariff, "Oh, he's the Antichrist, he's the devil, he's horrible, he's a piece of shit, he should die." Do most people have Twitter? In China, we have something called Weibo. And Weibo is the Chinese version of Twitter for the most part. Weibo has a lot more features than Twitter. It's like WeChat, right? We have WeChat in the States. You guys have WhatsApp. The WeChat, I think, is much better than WhatsApp. A hell of a lot better. You could search people nearby to find someone to chat with. You got all these chat groups. I pay my bills. I pay my power, my gas, my water through my WeChat. You have electronic payments through WeChat. You have, I could buy tickets, movie theater tickets, plane tickets, and all through WeChat. You don't need much if you have WeChat. The idea of WeChat, it also has its own version of bloggers, blogging pages on there. You have business sales, like an Amazon version attached to WeChat. The idea of WeChat, or Tencent, which is the company that owns WeChat, is they wanted a platform where you could do everything, even play video games. For a while, they were really trying to push this idea of building in-app video games, and they were doing pretty well, but that slowed down a couple years ago. Is it hard to type Chinese characters? No. Let me put on my Chinese. Nope. That says busha. It means no. So, yeah, it's no, it's not that hard. Once you learn. My Chinese sucks. Yeah, as many Chinese, they say to me, "Oh, your Chinese is so good." I always say to them, 我来中国很多年，但是因为我没学习了，我的普通话不太好. In other words, what it means is, I've been in China for a long time. 我来中国很多年, for many years. 但是, but, 我的普通话不太好. My Chinese is very bad. 因为我没学习了, because I haven't studied. And they're always like, oh, no, 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 look, your Chinese is so good. I said, no, I just say this statement very often, so I can say that very well. But in fact, I mean, I can hold some basic conversations. I've never studied, never went to class to study. But I can hold some basic conversations. But reading and writing, I'm very crappy on. Very, very crappy. More conversation. And cursing is one of the first things I learned. I could say some really nasty things in Chinese. In fact, I actually made up some Chinese terms. I made some of my own curse words because certain words don't translate over. So I actually created some Chinese curses, which is fun because if I say them to a Chinese person, they don't understand what I mean because it's not something anyone says. And if I say it to a foreigner, they don't understand too. Yeah, well, okay, so I'll tell you that story. Cursing is always the first thing you learn. Yes, yes. Well, actually, okay, so when I was younger, I used to have these different guys would come to China all the time, right? And a lot of people befriended me because I'd been here for a while. So a lot of these young guys, they would always walk up to me and say, hey, how do I flirt with a girl? What do I say to a girl to get her to like me? Yeah, how do I start a conversation with a girl? And I would always be like, learn some Chinese. And they always want the easy way. So usually I would always have these set things I would teach them. So I would have to start with something really obvious, like ni hao, right? Ni hao is hello. And I would say, ni hao. Ni means you, hao means good. So I would say, don't say ni hao, say ni hao, which is really nothing. It's still ni hao, it's just saying it as an idiot. But the other thing I would teach them is something like, ni xiang cao wu ma. Yeah, it's really like, do you want to sleep with me? But very dirty. And I would have these guys coming back to me saying, oh, the girl hit me, the girl yelled at me, the girl cursed at me, some people wanted to fight me. And I'd be like, yeah, you should have learned Chinese on your own. Yeah, you don't look for the easy way. I was a jerk. I was horrible. I was horrible to these guys. I would teach them, I would say, yeah, if you want to tell a girl that she's beautiful, you would say this, and it would turn out to be a curse or an insult. I'm a New Yorker. We're assholes. You don't believe me? Ask Trump. Yeah, so don't ask me to teach you Chinese. You don't know what you're going to learn. Yeah, but I had some guy do that to me once when I first came to China too, so it was pretty much like paying it forward. Thanks for those hearts. But in general, learning Chinese is very important. Cursing is very important. So I'll tell you a story. All right, so this is one of the stories I use when I'm doing some of my stand-up, but I'll give you guys a little bit of a longer version of it. So I was living in this small town for about 7 or 8 months. And a buddy of mine who was here in Beijing, he's from Michigan. His Chinese was great. He was younger than me by a couple of years, but he was actually Irish. I mean, curly, red hair, the whole thing. Really nice guy, though. He was actually on TV in China. He was a singer. He was an actor. Very successful. Anyways, he came to visit me for a weekend once. He was coming to visit me because where I was living, it was a countryside. It was very peaceful, very quiet. So there was this great national park called Bishu Shenjuan, and it stands for the Summer Mountain Resort. And every day, almost every day, in the morning before work or on the weekends, I would go there. And it was so relaxing, so peaceful. You'd have these Chinese pagodas, you'd have these lakes and these walking paths through the fields and up in the mountains. It was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So very, very relaxing. So I would go there, and there was this old man that at least once a week I would see this guy, sometimes more, and he'd walk up to me every single time, and he'd look up at me. He was a short guy, and he'd just walk over very slowly. He'd smile, great, wonderful smile. He'd shake my hand, and he'd say something in Chinese, and the only thing I understood was ni hao, hello, hello. And he would say this to me, and I had no idea what he was saying. And I would look down at him and say, ni hao, ni hao. and then he would walk away. And this would happen all the time. So anyways, one weekend my buddy came up and visited me, and we're sitting in front of the Summer Mountain Resort, the beach of Shenzhen, and he's playing his guitar. He just likes to screw around. I'm hanging out. We're just chilling. We're looking around, checking out the girls, which is something I used to do when I was younger. And so the old man, sure enough, he walks by. And he walks up to me, and he looks up at me, and he shakes my hand, and he says, "Ni hao," something, something, and he walks off. I turn around, and my buddy is laughing his ass off. He's laughing. I'm like, "What's up?" And he said, "Don't you know what that guy said?" I said, "No, but he's a sweet old guy. I see him all the time." He's like, "No, he's not sweet." The guy had said to me, "Ni hao yang guiza," which means, "Hello, you foreign devil." That's what he would say to me every time. Turns out it's the exact same thing. "Hello, you foreign devil." I was like, so anyways, my friend taught me a nice response to say to him. And next time I saw him, I said the response. And the guy never bothered me again. I never saw him again after that. But yeah, this old man would always smile at me, say, "Hello, you foreign devil." And I would always say hello to him, and he would walk off. And that was what taught me that I could say some really nasty things as long as I said it with a smile, and the people didn't understand the language. I can get away with a lot of crap. And I did that. I did that many times over the years, just with a smile. "Hey, you son of a bitch. You're such an asshole." And I would do that, and it made me feel better, even though the Chinese people didn't understand me. Good story. Thanks for your thoughts. Gotta go. Take care. Hey, take care, crazy goat, old goat. Be well. Come back anytime. And thank you for listening. So, yeah, I've had many stories over the years on different situations. So as far as healthcare goes, that's pretty much all I've got to say about healthcare. I mean, if you have questions, ask me. But otherwise, that's all I've got on healthcare. But I definitely a big supporter of privatized free market healthcare. I live it. I have both of them here in China, privatized and social, and absolutely, without a doubt, privatized free market healthcare is the best. Absolutely the best. Cheaper prices, better quality. I mean, I don't know what else I could say about it. I mean, it's truly, without a doubt, remarkable. When you go to a social healthcare system, you have to pay before seeing the doctor. And you have to pay a fee every step of the way. Yeah, in the privatized, you go in, if you want to know the price, you ask them the price. They'll tell you how much it is in most cases. You know the quality you're getting. You know the costs, which are not that expensive compared to the States. It's the best. Thank you for those hearts. It's the best possible situation. You know, I wish my father was still alive, and if he was, I would have him come here for health services. I would have him come to the private health hospitals here, the private hospitals here. The healthcare is great. It's top notch. They take care of you. And, you know, they remodel the hospital pretty much every year, every 2 years. They have so much money coming in, but it's not so much because they jack up the prices. It's so much because people choose to go and use their services. They have all that extra money. They're cheap prices. It's the idea of what would you rather sell your product for? High markup or high volume, right? I rather sell with a low markup and a high volume of products. So quite a lot of products being sold, just low markup. You sell more, right? And that's the same way it works here. They don't jack up the prices ridiculously, but they just have a lot more clients. It's really, really an excellent system. I believe free markets should be the way to go for most things, or pretty much everything. I think public transportation should not exist. I think it should be privatized. The last 2 days when we were walking around, you guys didn't have a chance to see any of them, but you should see some of the old buses. They've got buses here that were in service during Mao Zedong's days, right? I mean, they got some old-ass buses. Buses, when you're standing inside, you can basically feel how thin the floor is. It feels like you're going to fall through. I mean, it's just like so rattling. But yeah, oof. It's horrible, horrible. So, anyways, before I head off here today, I'll give you guys a shot. Do you have any questions for me? Any questions about China? About life abroad? Life as a Republican, conservative, libertarian, whatever, in a sea of communism? For those that are just joining me, I'll show you China again outside right now. And again, I'll be going out there a little bit later. You guys are welcome to follow me on my walk. After my daughter wakes up, while she's studying, I'll go out for my walk. I'm going to do my walk a little earlier than I usually do. I'll probably head out around 11:30 in the morning here. So, any questions? If not, I'm going to go ahead and call it for today, for this morning discussion. You guys are really good. You guys are engaging. I really appreciate it. No work today. My work, I do about an hour or so every afternoon, every evening. I do some research, but no. It's the way my life is these days. Who watches your daughter while you're home? I watch my daughter when I'm home. Yeah, same here. Oh, when I'm out. So I've got 4 cameras in the house, which have audio two-way communication, which looks at every room except the bathroom. I have 1 in each bedroom. I have 2 in the living room, which also can see the kitchen and dining room. So I've got those to watch her. And if she's walking around, it has motion sensors and whatnot. My door is double locked. I have a wooden door and a steel door, and then I have a camera outside the door as well. So the house is secure. And then she has a GPS watch where she can actually call me from it. So if she has any questions or she wants to talk to Daddy, she can call me. But usually she just plays with her Legos, plays with her LOL dolls, or watches her Disney or Netflix. So for the hour and a half I'm going for a walk, she's okay. What was that? No servants. I do have an IE that comes by, before the virus. She came by once a week. She cleans. But as far as doing laundry and cooking, I do that part. And now, since the virus, I'm doing the cleaning, which I'm not that good at, to be honest. I'll clean up, the place will be spotless, and then within a couple days, it's crappy again. Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't really have servants. I don't like the term servants. But I don't have workers. Excuse me. God, my sinuses in the morning suck this time of year. At least I don't, spit. That's one of the big things here in China. People spit everywhere in public. It comes a lot, I'm sure, from the pollution. But in China, yeah, as you're walking around, you'll see lots of big spit piles everywhere. It's disgusting. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what happens with my daughter. She just stays at home and does her thing. If she doesn't want to come out for a walk, I keep trying to convince her to come out for a walk. It's not, I don't know. She loves being by herself, I guess. I don't know. I'll sit there and argue with her. I'll have to bribe her just to come out for a while. Yesterday, 3 of her friends from the park, they all sent me messages saying, "Hey, are you coming? Are you coming?" They spit in pools too. No, but I have seen them go, into a pool. That's a very common thing. And they do spit into the filters of the pool. So along the edge of the pool, surrounding the whole pool, you have those filters, and you will see them lift themselves up into the pool, filter, and then come back into the pool. It's really, by our standards, by Western standards, it's disgusting. In China, it's just their way. I did notice for a few months, I actually started to, this was many years ago, I realized, oh crap, I'm spitting, what the hell? And then I realized it's actually, and I believe it's from the pollution. When the pollution's really bad, you get this huge pain in the back of your nose, right back here in the bridge of your nose and in the back. And even if you're wearing a mask, especially if you're wearing a mask for too long, where's my mask? I don't have my pollution mask here, but you get this pressure because when you're wearing a pollution mask, it's different than the masks that we're wearing for COVID. It has to have a very, very tight seal straight around. So like this, I have to get rid of this if I have to wear my pollution mask because I can't get a tight seal. But right here, you get this really bad pain, and it creates this sinus problem. I don't know what it is, and everyone tells me they have the same problem. But you have a huge amount of mucus that is built up in your mouth, and you spit it out. And I realized that I do that too. What was that question? They eat dogs and bats, so spitting is nothing. I've actually seen people take shits in public. Yeah, guys, we might take a piss on a wall somewhere late at night, especially if you're drunk. They'll actually take shits out in public. And you'll actually walk by certain walls and stuff, and you're like, oh, dog shit. No. That ain't dog. You don't see it too much in the inner city of Beijing anymore, but you do still see it. And it's, yeah. I remember the first time I ever saw someone take a crap. Hey, Mikhail, please, no Russian. I can't read Russian. I only know a few words. Yeah, I was actually walking in a city I was living in down south, and right against the wall of a bank, I looked over. It was behind a car. I noticed this guy ducking. I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, shit, he's taking a crap on the wall. Are there stray dogs? No. Dogs, you got to understand, first of all, in the north, they don't eat dogs too much. We do have a dog street here in Beijing where they do cook, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just like anything else. You have dogs which are raised for food, and you have dogs that are raised for pets. And dogs that are raised for pets are very, very sought after here. You do have stray cats in some places. Actually, here in my community, we have a bunch of stray cats. But dogs, you don't have stray dogs. No. Yeah, Mikhail, tell me what you said in English. I have no idea what you said in Russian. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, that's one of the things about those who eat dogs. A lot of people think, oh, it's so sad to see dogs being eaten. Well, I mean, to me, to be honest, I really don't care. Yeah, if someone wants to eat a dog, it's fine. Dogs in general that are raised to be eaten are just like cows that are raised to be eaten, or pigs or chickens or whatever else. I don't eat pig. I'm Jewish. But, yeah, I still understand they raised them to be eaten. And people talk about how the dogs are treated really badly. They're put in these tight cages. I mean, chickens are put in pens with hundreds of other, if not thousands of other chickens in the States, right, before being slaughtered. Cows, which give you, veal, are put into these pens that they don't move around. I mean, animals are treated really crappy. Yeah, we kill them to be eaten. That's one of the benefits to us being at the top of the food chain, right? We can do what we want with animals. Would it be nicer if we treated animals better? Yeah, I guess. I really don't have a personal opinion on that aspect of it as far as dogs. I mean, I personally like dogs. I'm a big dog lover. Not for food, though I've eaten it. But I am, it doesn't bother me that people eat dogs. I mean, that's, India, they don't eat cows, beef, any kind of cow meat, beef. But we do in the States. I have Indian friends here. They don't really bother me about it, just because I eat something that they don't, and I feel the same way. Now, there are certain animals, for instance, bats, I don't agree with, or fetuses. There are places here in China where they actually eat fetuses. It's something that's not talked about too much, and yeah, that's one of those things I was actually shocked on. Recently, they've been talking about how Chinese eat bats, Chinese eat certain animals, but nobody's really talked about the fact that they'll eat fetuses. It's a big thing in certain areas. They believe that it gives them longevity and a few other things. Also, penis. There's penis restaurants, and yes, I am saying that penis, dick, male gender, male parts. There are restaurants here where they serve only penises of different animals. It's a big thing, really big thing here. And actually, I did eat it back in the day. Back in my early 20s, I went to a penis restaurant with a client of mine, and I had it. And yeah. I think I did it more or less just so that I can make that comment. Yeah, I've eaten dick. I'm a straight guy, but I'm an idiot sometimes. I think I did that just for that reason. I never heard of. Oh, hey, don't look at my dirty house. Yeah, they do. There's some places you can actually find some photos and videos of it. They're usually aborted fetuses, which is a very big thing here. Abortions are nonstop. An abortion here costs about $100. It's like 600 kwai, 1,000 kwai, something like that. And yeah, if you know anything about abortion, what an actual aborted fetus or child looks like, you still see the head in many cases, especially here. You can still see the arms and the legs and the body. You can make out the definition of the face. It's really sad. I'm a pro-lifer, I admit it. I've had girlfriends who've had abortions, and I support them in what they did. I don't agree with it, but I support them. It's just like anything else. I don't believe homosexuality is okay, but yet I still support my sister. She's well, I guess she changed. I try to figure out what she is, but sometimes she says she's bisexual, sometimes she says she's a lesbian, so I don't know. But I support her, I love her. I don't try to convince her that she's wrong. If she wants to live that life, that's her choice. I believe in freedom. You don't have the right, I don't believe, you have the right to insult other people and look down on people. If she chooses to love a woman, then that's her choice. I don't agree with homosexuality, but I also don't agree that I have the right to put her down or to discriminate her or insult her in any way. I don't know if it's growing up in New York or just growing up being someone who's traveled around the world and seen so much. I don't know. I just find I find that that's an interesting thing about politics in the States. Like a lot of my family who are Democrats, progressives, they always say, oh, you're Republican, you're conservative, you're racist, you're bigoted, you're this and that. I'm like, prove it. Seriously, prove it. I'm a Jewish person, and I have a friend who's a Nazi. How is that bigoted or racist? The guy hates my people. My people hate his people. But as a person, he's a nice guy. We'll sit down and have bread together, break bread. I'm a Republican. I have good friends who are communists. I don't agree with homosexuality, but I also have good friends who are gay and lesbians and poly-extremists. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, who cares? That's what they do and that's what they believe. But as long as they act nice, if they're appropriate to other people, respectful, who cares what people believe? You don't believe in my God? What's the matter? You believe in Allah? You believe in Jesus? You believe in Buddha? Are you a good person? Okay, I understand. Christians believe that if you don't believe in Jesus, you go to hell. Okay, in Islam, you believe that if you don't follow Muhammad, you go to essentially hell. I understand that's what your religions believe and teach, but at the end of the day, Christians aren't supposed to judge. Muslims aren't supposed to judge. So stop judging. just respect each other. I don't know. I really don't know. That's why I think I'm more libertarian than I am conservative Republican. I'm actually thinking of making a switch to libertarian. I'm really, really considering it. But yeah, I don't know. I find that Democrats and progressives are more discriminatory against others than Republicans and conservatives and libertarians are. Is abortion common? Very, very, very common. Oh, it's organ harvesting? Oh, I just saw that. It's not organ harvesting, they're just eating them. Is abortion common? Yes, abortion is very common. Great person? No, I'm not a great person. Yeah, people say that. I'm not. It's just the way I think. It's just my personal opinion. I'm an asshole. Listen, I'm not a nice person in many ways. In many ways, I'm a jerk, right? I'll admit it, right? I have many faults. Everyone has faults, but I have a lot of faults. And I'm not a great person. I just try to do the best I can in what we have. But in the end of the day, I can't get down this whole, I don't know, this identity politics that's going on. I mean, I left the U.S. before all that identity politics crap happened. And I'm watching you guys back in the States and in Canada and Europe, you guys are going through it. I'm laughing. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world. I can't get down with it. I don't understand it. I have a MAGA hat, which I wear here. Yeah, and I love watching some of these young kids. They sit there and they just, look at me. And I actually had a few people say things, but most people it's funny. No, I'm not an English teacher. What was that? How is China doing? No, it's okay. China's okay. For the most part, we're back to normal. There are still things that are shut down. No, not every foreigner in China is an English teacher. I have taught English. It's easy money. It's really good money if you do it right. But no, I don't teach English. But, anyways, identity politics. I just, God. I had a discussion. One of my uncles, who's in New York, New York, Democrat. No, don't be sorry. It's very common here. Yeah, everyone, I'm walking down the streets, people are like, oh, you're an English teacher. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. Oh, you must know Kung Fu then. It's ridiculous. He posts on Facebook at least like 5 times a day, 10 times a day, all these anti-Trump things. And I'm just, I don't understand it. Now, listen, I support Trump. I admit it. I support Trump. But I also insult Trump when he's an idiot, which happens pretty often. The guy speaks and he sounds like an idiot, right? I support the idea Ben Shapiro has, which is take Trump's Twitter away, and he'll gain 5 points in the polls, without a doubt, overnight. Trump doesn't know when to shut up, which is a problem I have sometimes too. I'm from New York. He's from New York. I think it's a New Yorker thing. Trump is doing a great thing for the country, but he also doesn't know when to just shut up and be quiet. Here, no. Corona's still going on here. Not as bad as it was, absolutely not as bad, but it's still happening. Deaths are definitely down. The real reporting numbers are not being told, but it's much lower than it was. Yeah, I think, I don't know. Again, that's politics. It's not something I usually talk about unless people ask. So, alrighty. So the point of today's video was live stream was to talk about healthcare. I think I covered almost all of it. If you guys have any questions, Trump supporter in chat. Yeah, I know. Oh God, do I know? Actually, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on a second. I have my WeChat on my computer also. I wouldn't doubt that they already started with the Trump hating stuff. I have a bunch of groups where there's a whole bunch of like Trump supporters and anti-Trump supporters in there. And every day the anti-Trump supporters always start shit. So let's see. So this morning, okay, that's not a Trump thing, that's a sexual thing. Okay, yeah, there you go. Trump, they're talking about Trump saying he's eating or drinking bleach and all that. That's so stupid. If you actually listen to what he said, he never said drink bleach. Okay, from Geelong to Wuhan, Chinese scientists at Center of Virus Probe linked to Victorian Laboratory, Operation Batman. I don't know what that is. It's from the Herald Sun. I mean, I'm sure if there was a way to link Trump to the spread of the virus, to creating the virus, they would find a way. All right, they didn't start up too much with the anti-Trump this morning, but yeah, there's a lot of anti-Trump sentimentism here in China, but that's because of the news and the propaganda going around here. It's interesting. I've had a lot of people that say to me, "Oh, Trump's an asshole because he did this or he said that," and then I'll show the full context of whatever he said, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I really want to thank you for... No, it's my pleasure. Seriously, my pleasure. I love it. Yeah, I love to share. I have so many stories from over the years. I'm happy to share them. Thank you for those hearts. I love those hearts. Yeah, I believe it's just something I should do. This is what I do with my Chinese social media here, and this is the reason I have such a large following. I share my stories, of course, geared towards Chinese people. Thank you. And I have a huge following here, so I'm planning, that's what I'm doing here now in the West, on Periscope, on Twitter, on YouTube. I'm working on finding a way to share the same content, basically the same idea, but geared towards my Western audience. So you guys are my first. You guys are my start to building a following in the West. So you guys let me know what you think. You guys let me know what you want to learn about, and I'll work on building. Thank you for those hearts. I'll build my content towards what you guys want to hear about. So give me some ideas. Let me know what you guys like, and I'll figure it out. You are being my English teacher. Okay, well, first of all, it's not you are being my English teacher. It's you are going to be, or you are my English teacher. And you is spelled with a Y-O-U. Thank you. No, I mean, when I used to teach English, it was a lot of fun. I've run schools before. I've been a headmaster. I've run some English apps. I worked in marketing. I worked on the project as a project manager for several English learning apps. I did training. I've done a lot of training for educators, teachers. But as far as teaching itself, I mean, it's okay. It depends on the students, I guess. But in general, I don't want to be an English teacher, mostly because of the fact that everyone's got that stigma. Yeah, oh, you're a foreigner, you're in China, you're teaching English. And I prefer not to be lumped into one of those. So anyways, check me out on YouTube at Stay Foxy, and Twitter, Stay Foxy World, Instagram, Much Love Stay Foxy, Tumbler, Parler. Parler's really cool. I know I shouldn't say that on Twitter, right? But Parler is basically the Twitter for Republicans and conservatives and libertarians. Parler, if you're on Parler, I'm at Stay Foxy. So I guess I'm going to head off. You guys have pretty much stopped your questions. You guys aren't really asking any questions anymore, so I'll head off. Thank you for those hearts. I will be going out for my daily walk today. Today's walk will take me by one of the Chinese fire stations. I'll walk by SOS Hospital Clinic, which is the one I was talking about as far as a good health care here in China. And I'll probably walk up to one of the canals here. I'm going to go a different route today. So you guys will get a chance to see some more of Beijing. So check me out in about probably another hour and a half when I go out for the walk. And you guys can enjoy some beautiful, beautiful outdoors today. So Alrighty. Until then, all, much love, stay foxy, and thanks for joining me today. Cheers.